Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs is a trusted and secure e-commerce platform that celebrates and showcases Canadian Indigenous fashion designers and artists that create authentic, high-quality, handcrafted seal, fur, and leather products, such as accessories, footwear, clothing, and home decor. Regarded for their skill and creativity, Pick&D fashion designers and artists combine traditional sewing techniques to create contemporary seal products for the modern market. Joining me now to share more are Cheryl Fennell and April Allen, two of the amazing designers who share their designs through Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
So can you tell me a little bit about Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs and the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs is an e-commerce platform that celebrates and showcases Canadian Indigenous fashion artists and designers. We have many artists and designers on our platform who create authentic, high-quality, handcrafted, and seal fur leather products, such as accessories, footwear, clothing, and home decor. Artists combine traditional sewing techniques to create contemporary seal products for the modern market, and purchases from the Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Design platform support Indigenous artists and provide customers with a guarantee that they are buying a natural, eco-friendly, high quality and authentic seal product. And you can visit our platform at proudlyindigenouscrafts.com.
So some people may have concerns about cultural appropriation when wearing Indigenous artwork. Can you speak to why your products are not a form of cultural appropriation?
That's a really good question, Candice, and it's one that many people ask. We explain to them that cultural appropriation refers to the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption and use of one group's cultural elements by another, and that's different from appreciation. For example, Indigenous people love and invite non-Indigenous people to wear their designs. This is appreciation, not appropriation. The artist who made the work is really happy that you appreciate their work, and they're happy that their culture and tradition is appreciably thriving and surviving. People can find Indigenous products in reputable galleries or in other retailers, and we invite you to go in there and find them. And as well, we've recently been in 2 different fashion shows to be able to educate people about our beautiful crafts and the seal. We were in Winnipeg Kamayak Gallery in November, and about a month ago we were at the Northern Lights Festival in Ottawa, and we were able to showcase all our beautiful designs on the 2 different runways there. As artists working within Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs, we do not try and compete with each other. We actually mutually respect the work that each one does, and we're always looking forward to see what other contemporary design using traditional elements is this artist going to post on Proudly Indigenous next. So we invite you to check out the website and to see the shop and find something that you feel that you would like to wear.
Tell me about the importance of the seal harvest in the Arctic then, and how it supports Indigenous communities and creators.
Yeah, so seal hunting and harvesting have been an important part of Inuit communities' way of life in the Arctic for thousands of years. In the Arctic region, the seal harvest provides a critical source of protein and other essential nutrients, which are scarce in the harsh and remote Arctic environment. Seal meat, fat, and organs are rich in vitamins, minerals, and omega-3 fatty acids, which are necessary for maintaining good health, especially in the long, dark winter months. So in Canada's north, where store-bought meat is expensive, a single seal can provide the equivalent of $200 or more worth of meat to a family and a much higher level of nutrition. Besides providing a source of sustenance, the seal hunt also plays a significant role in the cultural and social life of Inuit communities in the Arctic. Hunting seals and processing their meat, skins, and blubber is a traditional skill passed down from generation to generation. Every part of the animal is relied upon to sustain all aspects of life. In addition to being a crucial aspect of Inuit culture, the seal hunt also supports the local economy. Inuit artisans and craftspeople create a variety of products from seal materials, including jewelry, clothing, mitts, boots, and other traditional items. Remote communities have fewer economic opportunities, and the cost of living is very high. The sale of these products provide an important source of income for Inuit communities, which help support our local economies. And our traditional hunting practices are sustainable, humane, and vital for our survival.
So then how do you incorporate traditional sewing techniques into creating contemporary seal products for the modern market?
So I hand and machine sew my sealskin fashions, and I use satin and I use other materials to work with it as well. Now, the way that I incorporate traditional ideas and materials is that I have learned from my grandparents how they made clothing to not just reflect the beauty of the world, but also to survive. So my grandfather was a trapper. So my grandmother would make him gauntlet mitts with fringes. The fringes were not just there for beauty. They were there to repel the snow from the glove when he was using his dog team. And the beading on that reflected the fact that an elder once told me everything above in the sky is reflected in the earth. And this is how she represented that and educated the kids that we're one. The Indigenous worldview is that we're one. And so when I make items, I incorporate those items into my designs. And then people will, why do you have a fringe on that beautiful cashmere top with seal and whatever beading? And I'll tell them the story. And then they learn about it. And I look for more ideas that I can incorporate into contemporary designs.
I think that some people will be listening, April, and they'll, it's that thought of the seal. So how do you ensure that the seal harvest is done with respect and care for the animals and the environment? And I honestly feel like this is a bit of a silly question because I can't think of a group of people who care more about the environment than Indigenous people, but let's share it anyway.
Of course. Thanks, Candace. Inuit have a long and rich history of hunting seals for food, clothing, and other necessities. We have developed a deep understanding of the animals and the environment we live in and have a great deal of respect for both. To ensure the seal harvest is done with respect and care for the animals and the environment, Inuit have developed a set of traditions and practices that have been passed down from generation to generation. One of the most important practices is to only hunt what is needed. Inuit hunters do not hunt for sport or pleasure, but rather only hunt what is necessary for their survival. All food is shared with elders and community members. Another important practice is to use every part of the animal. The meat is eaten, the skins are used for clothing and shelter. Seal oil is both used as a source of food and fuel, and the bones and other parts are used as tools and other purposes, so nothing goes to waste. Inuit have a deep spiritual connection to the animals and the environment, and we believe that the animals are gifts and they must be treated with respect and gratitude. We view the seals as important sources of food and resources, and we believe that our hunting practices are necessary to maintain the balance of nature.
Let's wrap this up, ladies. I hope people are going to run over and check out your website afterwards. But what do you see as the future of Indigenous fashion, and how do you hope to contribute to it through your work at Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs?
Sealskin is what a non-Indigenous designer I know calls the honest fabric. You can create almost anything with it. You can use it like fabric, as long as you know what you want to make and how to work with it. I have created fashion that is wearable and also is art. So every piece of my fashions that I make now has art on it, but it's also art, piece of art, the way it's constructed. So it's truly wearable art. You could hang it up. I have hung up a skirt with art on it from elders that they designed. So the future of Indigenous fashion is hard to predict, but I think that if anyone were able to see into the future, they would see unique, beautiful designs that are meaningful, that represent the knowledge that wasn't written down in the past, but is conveyed through their grandparents and their traditions. And, in Proudly Indigenous Crafts and Designs, the reason that we like to be part of that is that they truly respect whatever we are creating, and it's not a competition between the artists. It's more like a cooperative, mutually respective venture that we're all engaged in to help promote seal and fur, and to also educate others about Indigenous culture and heritage and our great respect and love for animals and this planet.
Thank you, ladies. I'm telling you, I went down a rabbit hole looking at your website and down all the Instagram pages of each of the designers and the creators, and my jaw was on the floor. Absolutely beautiful, as you said, wearable art. So I encourage everybody to go over and follow. So let's wrap this up. Can you please share the website where people can find you?
Absolutely. So it's ProudlyIndigenousCrafts.com.
All right. We're going to put that on the podcast in the liner notes when it goes live. And thank you so much for joining me today, Cheryl and April.
It was lovely meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Candace.